never confess unless it's with the Lord. Count your blessings, no stress, this fuck shit, avoid it. Let your circle get small, these niggas is poison. Why you talking about love? She gon' be thinking abortions. Damn, remain alert so you won't be surprised. They might try to kill you first, co-conspire, divide. This jealousy shit real, oozing out they eyes. They pretend to show love with hate reside inside. Shit, you gotta simple what they really worth. Might have to stoop to their level, can't let them hit you first. Don't let them threaten your life when it's money to make. Everybody got a price when they ain't cutting the cake.
Everybody knows how to do the hustle. Fake niggas out there flashing muscle.
Don't trust them, no.
Don't forget, cause I know.
It might just be your own.
Don't sweat the hating niggas now. Don't sweat the hating niggas now. Don't sweat the hating niggas now. They ain't nothing.
It might just be your own. I see the smiles looking fake as ever. We used to run and hit the town, we changed the weather. Money accumulated, on the road to better. Even hit some of my bitches, we shared some treasures. And yeah, I was devastated by the pain you left. Had to stay medicated, it was hard to accept. We grew up close at the family, I'll never forget. The connection we had, I knew it didn't exist. You was eating with the enemies, sitting at their table, giving them hugs and daps, toasting glasses like they made you. My brother warned me about the slick shit, I ain't listen to him. I never thought I'd be the one, put the pistol to him.
Everybody knows how to do the hustle. Fake niggas out there flashing muscle.
Don't trust them, no.
Don't forget, cause I know.
It might just be your own.
Don't sweat the hating niggas now. Don't sweat the hating niggas now. Don't sweat the hating niggas now. They ain't nothing.
It might just be your own.
Yo, what's good, people? What's popping with the population? And might just be your own is the message of the day. Shout out to everybody watching, everybody that's pulling up. Let me go to the comments real quick so I can shout y'all out, man. Just came off the job I applied for. I got today. I got approved for the job today, so got some paperwork to finish up and background checks and fingerprints and all that shit. But yeah, it's always good to get to be employed and get your money up. Got to get back to the money. After I left Apple, I took some downtime and I'm ready to get back in. I'm ready to get back in the workforce. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, man. It's just going to be a sporadic show today, man. Not so much of a main topic. We could talk about the Xbox showcase. We could talk about the ABK stuff, the new information that dropped with Microsoft just did with NVIDIA. I got some information on the Bioshock remake or reboot. It's things not looking good on that side. Mortal Kombat 1 trailer. I heard drop today, so we could take a look at that, get y'all opinions on that. We just for to have a conversation, man. Any questions y'all may ask, just drop them in the chat. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. We just for the vibe, man, because I want to kind of stream as much as I can as possible before I, start going back to work and y'all might don't see me. Well, we'll see how it goes. It depends on my work schedule. So we'll see how they go. But I definitely just wanted to pop back on it because I saw somebody on Twitter post, we need a live. We need you to go live. So we definitely about to do that. And if y'all follow me on Twitter, as y'all see, y'all my ABK profile is back. We're not dead. So let me shout y'all out, and then we're gonna get it popping. Give me just a second here. Matter of fact, let me do something real quick. Let me do something real quick. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, let me make sure my kids is getting out of school. So, that's my school calling. Okay, I'll get to that. All right, so here we go. Let me do this here. Let's see where we at. Let me turn my camera on. Let me hit the switch right here, so y'all can see me. You feel me? Make sure. Look, you see that State of Gaming merch, man? Y'all need to pull up on that State of Gaming merch, man. Stop playing with our merch, man. Stop playing with our merch. We got that fire. So let me see who we got in the chat. Mozan Smeek was good. Six Slayer was good. HB, what up? Gorilla One was good. Patman was good. Vic, the Click. I might have to give you a new name too, because I almost said something else. I ain't gonna even lie, brother. You know what I'm saying? But we go VC. I'm gonna call you VC. You know, Vic the Click. That's kind of, you know. Hey Vic, hey, I can't. If I can't imagine me yelling your name down the street, hey Victor, I can't imagine myself yelling, hey Victor Click. We gonna call you VC. Thanks for joining the show. Dolo was good. Jim 8 was good. The other Zeke was good. Real Free, what's up? Pastor, what's up? Island Gaming with Jay was good. Packer Pal in the building. Cloak Onyx, what's up? And we got here, Alcoholic Gamer. Look, that's my daughter already. Hold on. Give me just a second, y'all. Give me just a second, y'all. That's my daughter. Hold on. All right. I am back. All right. My kids getting out of school and shit. Okay. What we got here? Okay. Alcoholic Gamer with the $2. Y'all know what to do when y'all come in. Yeah. I had to go take care of some business. He said, "Oh, let me look. Let me tell y'all something. If y'all ever throwing a party, or a get together, family reunion, or whatever, right? Or you're going to the club, or you're just trying to put together your own drink. Now, this message. You see, I'm doing something. This message is only for 21 or older, or should I say 25 and older. Reach out to Alcoholic Gamer. He's always dropping, as you can see, Everclear plus strawberry Fanta drinks on me. He or she's always dropping these drink mixtures. I haven't tasted them. I haven't tried any of them, but they proclaim them to be fire. That's if you sip a little or you partake. You know what I'm saying? I'm not promoting, drink and drive safely. You know what I'm saying? But, Love of God was good. Who else? Your FTC post. Hey, they got me a new name. They call me the body language specialist. You feel me? They call me the body language specialist on Twitter now. So, FTC post body language specialist. We're going to get it in. All right. We got who? Enzo was good. Buck was good. Bayou Nemesis was good. Young Cameron Was good? Witness the truth? They fed a witness today. Judith Gaming, what's up? Okay, I got you, Vic. All right, and then shout out to HB as a new member. You feel me? Master Civ 40. Hey, post Sony running scared. Keep it Xbox. You already know. We're gonna talk about that. They just announced they showcase too. And this time they're going before Microsoft. They going before June even hit. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to get y'all perspective on that because I am going to be reading the chat today. I'm going to try to keep up. We're going to see. All right. GOAT Reviews, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Who else we got? Valorious Vigilante? Valorious Vigilante. V&V. You feel me? All right, and then we got real nonstop talent. Okay, all right, what's good, y'all? Man, thank y'all for joining the show. I appreciate y'all supporting the platform consistently. I see a lot of people that I see every time I go live, they pop up, they pull up. No problem. So salute to y'all and salute to all the new people I see in the chat as well. We finna get it cracking. Aaron, what's up? Aaron, what's up? Another one that's always pulling up. Easy. You feel me? Easy. All right. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about first. Let me see here. What I want to talk about first. All right. Let's get this out the way with let me see here. Okay. All right, we'll talk about this since this is hot on the presses. As y'all know, let me see here. We'll do this here. This since I walked into this today. Let me put this on screen. We ain't got to talk about this that long either. Then we're gonna go into the PlayStation. What is it? Go. You got the keys. I got the keys, so y'all can get back here. Don't drive over my car. Go. Okay. So Microsoft is getting the ball rolling, and I think this is a strong move, right? I think this is an important move because if you've been following this whole ABK deal over the last months and months that has been going on, over the year that has been going on, in terms of the 10-year contracts that they've been giving out, the consensus in the echo chamber that is Twitter is that the contracts didn't mean anything. They don't have no power or anything like that. But I think they do. And the EU just strengthened those 10-year agreements even more when they approved the deal from the European Commission. And then Microsoft say, hey, we're not going to wait for this deal to be approved. And I think this bodes well for the confidence of Microsoft that they have in themselves in their case to kind of win the appeal process with the CMA. And the European Commission is already putting the CMA in a pretty tough position. My guess is that China process should be coming up soon, towards the end of May, maybe early June. If China approves, right, Microsoft got 2 out of the 4 regulators that they would need to approve the deal. Okay, they will have 2. As I stated before in the past, the merger agreement states that 4 regulatory bodies need to approve the deal. And that's United States, that's Europe, that's the UK, and China. I think a lot of people forgot or didn't know about China that was in a merger agreement, but China is in a merger agreement because at the time that this deal was announced, Activision was still operating in the China market, right? It wasn't until months after this deal announced that we found out that the agreement that they had with what's her name over in China wasn't getting renewed, and that Blizzard and Activision was pulling all their games out of the market. So that's why China was on the merger agreements, because it's an important market that they was operating in before Activision and Blizzard start pulling all their content out. And I think it's a market that's still going to be able to operate in if the deal goes through and Microsoft gain ownership of Activision Blizzard King. I think they go back into China and renegotiate with maybe the same company or a different company, but we'll see. So Microsoft said, look, today we're kicking off our 10-year partnership with NVIDIA by bringing Gears 5 to NVIDIA GeForce Now members today. Deathloop, Grounded, and Pentiment next week. This is just the beginning. More games from Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda will be added soon. This also applies to Xbox games that's purchased on the Steam store, on Epic Games Store, and then pretty soon on the Microsoft store. So that will be interesting. That will be interesting. So let me see here. Yeah, baby, father. Yeah, baby, yeah. That's what I get when I hear your name. I think of what's her name. What's good, brother? New to your channel. Something for the plate. Blessed. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the support. Good looking. What is it? You have to wait. I don't have no cash on me right now, so you're gonna have to wait. Give me my key. Y'all finna go now? You stepping on the cat.
She done waited.
Y'all finna go now? You got to wait. I ain't got no cash on me. All right. So I think this is a good thing. I think, because you have to look at it like this. The CMA, when they looked at them 10-year agreements, they said, this don't mean nothing. And that was the consensus going around on Twitter as well. But I think right now you do so. You make a move like this to show, look, we're not just writing these contracts up just to try to trick y'all into approving this deal. We really mean this. We really mean that we're trying to get our content to as many people as possible. We're not just talking about 3 billion or 4 billion gamers. We're trying to reach that 3 billion or that 200 million. And the only way we do that is through this. I think this is a great move. I think hopefully this pushes other regulatory bodies that haven't checked in. We know we got on June 21st, we got the let me share this real quick. On June 21st, we got the competition tribunal of South Africa for South Africa. And people like, when I be naming regulatory bodies that are not on the merger agreement, people are like, well, they don't mean nothing. They're not important. They are important. They are important. And the reason why I say that, because let's see here. Okay, so this is the CMA. We know they went for the block, right? They went for the block. This is the EU. We know they approve. You click this link. The decision text hasn't came yet. I think it'll be a couple of months before we see the decision text, which is the breakdown on why they approved the deal, and it'll go more in depth and detail and things like that to give us their perspective on how they view the market and why they approve this. We do get the link right here, which go to their press corner, where they announced that they approved the deal, which was on May 15th, which is my mom. They approved this on my mom's birthday. That's fire. They approved this on the day after my birthday, and on my mom's birthday, the EU approved this. So shout out to the EU. You feel me? Right? So let me see here. So, okay. And then you have New Zealand. New Zealand haven't said anything. The case status is still open. The timeline of their decision is next month on the 9th, right? It's due by the 9th, which it could come before then, but we'll see. They haven't updated the last this was updated 3 weeks ago. And prior to that, the last update was July 13th. Was June. I mean, yeah, July 13th of last year. So I think they've been waiting to see the outcome of what the major regulatory bodies are going to do, like China, UK, EU, and the FTC, right? So we got them, right? And then we also have, let me see, as y'all know, I'll be on it. Y'all be on it. I'll be on it. I got these boys up and ready to go in case I need to make an announcement, right? So this is Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. Theirs is still under consideration. I think Microsoft started with them around June 16th, right? And so they haven't updated anything yet. The last update we get from them was February the 2nd, 2023, and they say they're engaging with overseas regulators. Timeline remains suspended, right? So I guess they're some of these small markets have to really take into account what the big three or the big four does. Okay. Then we have Turkey. This is Turkey. Let me see here. They haven't no updates from Turkey yet, but you can see recent approvals from other mergers. I didn't even know Google just got approved for an acquisition for a company called Photomath Incorporation. I don't know what that is, but yeah, no updates there. And then we also, this is India, but Microsoft hasn't apply. I don't think they have sent anything to India in regards to the agreement, and that's about it. That's where we're at, right? That's where we're at. So let me come back here. And share this. Now, the reason why. Let me close this out. And let me close that out. I close that out too, and then I can bring this over here. And then we can close this out and I could switch this over here. Okay. Now, the reason why I say the other regulatory bodies are pivotal in this whole deal is because the more regulatory bodies that approve, the less argument the CMA and the FTC has for their block. You feel me? The less argument. So the CMA can go, look, this regulatory body, and this regulatory in this country, they all agree with us. They agree with our block. They agree on why the block took place. So if the FTC and the CMA is out there alone, if Microsoft decides to not wait on the FTC. So say if China approves, right? China approves. I mean, you got Europe and China. That's two of the main four. Then you say, okay, we're going to fight the appeal in the CMA. We're going to close in the U.S. because we know Lena Khan don't have a case, right? And in that particular process, in terms of the deal, we just, whether China do unconditional, especially if China go unconditional, if China approves without any conditions, and then you have the EC, which already approved with conditions that kind of mute the issues or the arguments that the FTC has against the deal, is Lena Khan willing to take that in front of a federal judge? Because now you say if all other regulatory bodies approve, the FTC in the UK is out there on the ledge, right? You got Lena Khan who knows she don't have a case. Reason why they ain't take it to federal court yet. And then you got the CMA that's being questioned by their own government in terms of their international appeal in their economy. Right? So the more regulatory bodies that approve, it strengthens Microsoft's argument against the FTC and the CMA. That's why it's important for markets that y'all really don't care about, but the main four. But that's why the other markets matter. It strengthened their arguments. You already see that with the European Commission when the CMA talking about it'll be hard to monitor concessions and things like. In the European, like, no, it's not. We're hiring an independent body, right? First of all, we're gonna make all of the cloud licenses free, and we're gonna make them automatic, right? We're gonna make them automatic, right? They're gonna be free and automatic, meaning that when a customer go purchase a game and they purchase that license that come with that game expands beyond the store that they purchased it from, meaning they can take that game and that license to a booster world or GeForce Now, and without any trouble, they should be able to play them games on that cloud service because they pay for that game already, right? What are they gonna? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Shout out to Jury Worthy with the $4.99 post. Since you got from around the foolery, you've been flourishing. Big ups my shot time, brother. I need logos. May help me out. Who the logos? I got you, bro. I talked to if you gotta let me know what's your Twitter handle, man. Hit me up on Twitter, my DMs on Twitter. Let me know so I can plug you with Mello. Mello did our logo and stuff like that. Mello into all that graphic design and all that. He even learning how to build games and stuff right now. So yeah, I got you, bro. I know you've been asking me that for a minute. You've been asking me that for a minute. All right, so ponies don't understand they love only. Yeah, and I think this what Microsoft is doing now is, look, we're not just, I know y'all, because the CMA said in their report that the 10-year agreements don't mean nothing. They do mean something, right? They do mean something. Microsoft showing you that means something. There's so many questions. I was in a conversation recently on Twitter because I had just made a recent post, and I'm like, what is the deal with the CMA, right? In terms of active, they're saying that by 2026, that the cloud gaming is going to grow to this big market, right? And they're assuming that despite this deal, even if this deal doesn't go through, that ABK has the incentives to put their games on the on cloud, right? So my question is, and if anybody in the chat can answer this, my question is that are you basing the success of the cloud market on whether ABK enters the market or not? Are you saying that regardless if Microsoft is going to be able to purchase Activision, that if it don't go through, Activision has an incentive to put that game on cloud, and that's going to help grow the market, despite Activision saying that they don't want to put that game on the cloud, and they're making too much money the way they're doing it. Now they have no incentive to put it there with all the money that they're making. I'm trying to see, because it seems like the ABK is basing the cloud market success off Activision. And I just don't see Activision being that impactful on the cloud market. I really don't. Especially and I know Call of Duty is big. I don't see Call of Duty competitively, people playing Call of Duty competitively on cloud. Blizzard already talked about World of Warcraft and how the cloud model doesn't fit that game and how it doesn't even fit within Game Pass. So if you're saying that if Microsoft, I really don't get their stance. Now, Lives, I got you. Now, I'm going to talk about what Satya said. I'll definitely bring that up. Look, I don't think the market, HB, I don't think the cloud market is going to be where they think it's going to be by 2026. I really don't. I really don't. I really don't. I really don't. I got phone calls coming through. Yeah, I really don't. I really don't. You know, I think there's still infrastructure issues. Look, Amazon Luna just popped up in the UK recently. I think cloud in whatever form it is still in beta stage, even though I think the most successful one outside of Google is GeForce Now, given that you got 4090s in the cloud and stuff like that, which is remarkable. But in terms of, I still think it's in beta stage, and I just don't see people playing Call of Duty competitively via cloud. I can see them playing Call of Duty the single player mode via cloud, but most people, I don't even see a war zone in the cloud. Not right now. Maybe in the next 7-10 years, maybe 5 or 10 years, I can see it, because technically it'll be an issue trying to do it. It'll be an issue trying to do it. It's amazing how they're trying to predict the future, and at the same time telling you they can't predict the future. That's what they did in their final conclusion. They saying that if Microsoft gets Activision, they're gonna be able to dictate the future of cloud marketing and all that stuff. Then at the same time, they turn around and say, "Well, we don't know where the cloud market is going to go. We can't predict it." So you're trying to I don't know what's going on. They is crazy. They is crazy. What we got? Listen, poster. Play. I agree that shot, but I'm only play poster. If Stadia never shut down, it was possible now, because Stadia was still unmatched in its latency. True. I think Stadia did themselves a disservice. They got out too quick. Also, I think if Stadia was still alive, I do think that Microsoft would have offered them the 10-year agreement. And if Stadia would have agreed to it, that this deal wouldn't have had any issues. But now Google is using the downfall of Stadia and blaming it on Microsoft to prevent Microsoft from acquiring Activision, solely to prevent them from challenging them in the mobile space. Shout out to Buck with the $5. Con based her lawsuit on claims Microsoft misled the EC, which EC said was inaccurate. Now EC approved larger deal and accepts Microsoft remedy. Vestager KO Lena. She KO'd both of them, right? Because first she told the FTC, "No, we're not your puppet. We're not fit to do your dirty work for you." If y'all listen to that interview she did before the one she recently did, when she said our choices will be dictated on facts, that we will not be swayed by these companies or other regulatory bodies. EC already Vestager already let it be. Look, we ain't for that. All that stuff Sony talking about, we ain't finna pick a side. Our decisions and our choices is going to be based off facts. KO Lena, when Lena tried to come out and I think Lena did that on purpose, just to see where Vestager was going to stand. And when investigators shot that shit down and say, look, we ain't finna do what she do. She went over there and backdoored the UK. He got over there and backdoored with Sarah. Now Sarah, hold on, let me do this. Let me do this. Now Sarah out there scrubbing her LinkedIn profile, erasing anything that dealt with FTC. Let me tell you, it's some shit going on. Let me tell y'all, it is some shit going on. The CEO of the CMA is out there scrubbing her LinkedIn profile of everything FTC and got caught doing it. And people, she did a meeting. Hold on. Right? Hold on. Let me see here. Let me see here. She out there. Let me tell y'all something. She out there scrubbing her LinkedIn profile. Right? She removing anything FTC and Lena Khan. And people caught it. And people trying to get the cash. They trying to get the they're trying to get the cash her profile so they could to see when she made the changes and the deletions, right? Because it was an enforcer summit agenda that was on March 27th, right? And guess who? Look, that should go right there. Look who there. So the FTC was there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the European Commission was there too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and so she and so ever since all of the questions about her and Lena Khan doing backdoor dealings and conversations, because the U.S. Senators raised those questions, and then the Parliament just recently raised those questions with Sarah. So where there's smoke, there's fire. So motherfuckers call her scrubbing her LinkedIn profile, removing it. Yo, bro, this is crazy, bro. They out here. Look, and they thought we was crazy saying that, because if you look at the timeline, right? We do know that confirmed by Bobby Kotick that that the CEO of the CMA, Sarah, visited Lena Khan in Washington. We do know that. We do know there was a 2-week period that the CMA stopped all communications with Microsoft, went dark on them, right? I can tell you that when Satya stated that he was surprised, he was not lying. Based off what I know, what I was told, that prior to this decision, them conversations was different. And that's why Brad Smith was took the tone he did. He was upset to say, y'all duped us. Because from the conversations that they was having, the outcome was supposed to be different. And then up at the last minute, you go dark on us, and then you come out and do the total opposite from the conversations we was having, from what I was told. And Satya wasn't the only one that was surprised. People on both sides, Microsoft and Activision, was surprised based on the conversations that was taking place. So it definitely needs to be an investigation there, I would say. It definitely, from what I know, and I can't spill the beans on what I personally know, but I was told it needs to be something, someone or somebody needs to be investigated. Because yeah, and those remarks about, look, Not so much so. I don't think Microsoft is going to pull out of the UK. In terms of the overall Microsoft, I don't think the overall Microsoft is going to pull out of the UK. They too embedded into UK's infrastructure that goes beyond gaming and Microsoft. I'm talking about cybersecurity, all types of shit. They are deeply embedded into the UK infrastructure. In terms of Xbox, though, who knows? Who knows? I just think the CMA made a bad choice, and their media is saying they made a bad choice. Their government is saying they made a bad choice, and all the investors and analysts is saying they made a bad choice. Right? I think Lena Khan knew she didn't have a case, and I think Lena Khan don't care about winning or losing. It's about her agenda. Even though she might have a losing case, I think she still might take it to court. But I think she did get the UK to do what the Europe wasn't going to do. She got the UK to do her bidding because I think she knew the European Commission was going to approve, and I think she knew the UK was going to approve. She has no case, but that's just me. It could be wishful thinking. I'm just looking at this in from different angles and things like that, but it makes no sense to me. Let me pull up. But shout out to Microsoft for kicking the streaming stuff off soon and hopefully motivating other regulatory bodies to approve the deal. And we're also going to talk about that carve-out that people are talking about. And is that possible? So we're going to bring this up here. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this here. Let's see who we got here.
On Monday, European regulators approved Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. I asked Nadella before this was announced what he thought would happen given the developments here in the U.S. and the UK.
Look, I mean, the fundamental logic of this deal, bringing more competition and more opportunities for publishers and gamers.
Yeah, I know it's funny because it doesn't make sense.
So as far as I'm concerned, we keep going. We wait for what the European Union decides. We have a process. We obviously respect the sovereignty of the United Kingdom and the CMA to decide what's good.
Would you ever see an age where you would sell the product in the US if it was approved, sell the products in Europe and not sell it in the UK if they didn't approve it?
Let's wait for it all to play out.
Were you surprised by this?
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. Because in some sense, this is the most pro-competitive thing I've ever seen. And then most people will say that this is, and in an interesting way, it is using, in some sense, a large company's ability to persist and introduce more competition. And I think consumer surplus, if that is the goal, and more competition is the goal, and the benefit for small publishers is the goal, then it checks all the boxes. So I'm very surprised.
At the same time, I asked Nadella about the regulatory environment right here, though, in the United States.
This time around, it looks like, if you're big somehow, you should somehow be sort of banned from doing things.
Big seems bad right now.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe a little reframing of let's take even Microsoft and Google competing. Is that good or bad, right? In terms of consumer surplus, you talked about publishers. Who is going to benefit? Guess what will happen? If search actually becomes competitive, who do you think benefits? Every advertiser will get cheaper prices. Every publisher will get better yield, and end users will get better innovation. So But it seems like, hey, two big companies competing might be a good thing.
Let's go back to this.
Sell the product in the U.S. if it was approved.
This
sell
way,
the products in Europe and not sell it in the UK if they didn't approve it.
Let's wait for it all to play out.
Were you surprised by this?
Very much, very much so.
Look, man, that was the part of the of this interview that everybody was talking about in terms of, look, hey, what options do, and in my case, from my perspective, Satya is not going to play his hand, right? He's not going to tell you what options that they have on the table or how they're going to move. So he's going to tell you, let's just wait and see, right? Right. So they don't have to show their hand right now, right? Because the regulatory process is still going on, right? We're still waiting on China, which is the another main one out of the four, right? If you get 2 out of the 4, knowing you have a winnable case in the United States, that leaves the CMA out on the island, right? And in an appeal process, I don't know how that'll go to say, look, every other regulatory body has approved this deal, right? Even a federal court judge in the state says approved it, right? Or says there's no harm here or no lessening of competition. And yet, and what's tricky about this is that the UK is trying to control on a global scale, right? They didn't block this merger based on what's going on in their market alone. They didn't decide this case regarding their market. They decided to block on a global scale, meaning they're trying to dictate what consumers have access to outside of their own market. So literally the UK is trying to tell the world that this is a bad deal. Not their own market, not just their own market. How they block this, they block this deal globally. If you go read their fight, they blocked it globally. Right? And they did that, right? Because they falsified numbers. They took every Game Pass subscriber, every Xbox Live subscriber, and said that Microsoft has 60 to 70% of the cloud market, which is false, right? And they couldn't block it based on their own market because they only have 5,000 people stream. They only have 5,000 people in their market streaming. 5,000. So you falsified numbers, the same thing you tried to do in the console space. You tried to do the same thing in the console space and you got caught. And I think you're going to get caught here too as well. You're going to get caught here too as well. Now, hold on. Let me see if I can bring up. Give me a second now, Laz. I'll find it. It's a portion in the final conclusion, that final analyzing of the case where they did it, where they was talking about global, and that's why they were saying that that's why people were saying that if the CMA doesn't approve it, that the deal might not go through. But I don't know. It's a lot of stuff I'm misinformed on. But I do remember reading the parts where they were talking globally in scale in terms of their final outcome on why they blocked the deal. Yeah, Jeremy. That's correct. And we're not only seeing this, but their government is seeing this too and saying, look, do y'all even consider our the impact on our economy when y'all are making these choices? When y'all are deciding these deals, does the impact in the understanding of where we at in our economy, does that even play a choice? Because you're at a point where the UK economy is in shambles from reading BBC reports and talking to people that live there. You have ARM, one of the biggest chip manufacturers, leave the London Stock Exchange and go to the New York Stock Exchange, right? In 2021, you had over 448 businesses leave the country, right? You got investors. Look, are y'all even taking this into consideration when y'all are blocking these deals? Because we know how huge Microsoft is, and we know the impact that Microsoft and Activision can have on the economy of UK, since they have a lot of game developers there. And the guy from Parliament saying, look, are y'all even taking this into consideration when y'all making these decisions? So I kind of felt them on that. Like, so now we're gonna get to the other hold on, let me back out of here. And this is the other thing people was talking about, the carve-out. Where was it? This is the carve-out. Let's see here.
Blizzard. The UK shut down the deal, but then regulators in the EU approved it. So then what does this mean for the company overall?
Yeah, it's kind of a confusing place now where we have the likes of Japan, the EU saying you can move forward with this deal. Microsoft can acquire Activision Blizzard for that $70 billion and, start to become a larger player in the gaming space. Meanwhile, you have the UK as well as the US with the FTC basically saying, no, we don't want this deal to happen. The Microsoft, Activision Blizzard can appeal those. They can fight the lawsuit that the FTC has brought. They can appeal the decision by the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK. If they are able to show in the US that the EU is correct in its ruling and that, look, we have these guarantees. We're going to work with Sony. We're going to work with Nintendo, with NVIDIA. We already have deals in place with Nintendo and NVIDIA where we'll provide Call of Duty. That's the game that they're all talking about with 10 years of content. Then perhaps the FTC can say, okay, or a judge can say, okay, you're satisfying the concerns that the FTC has there. If that happens, then what happens in the UK? Well, if Activision Blizzard and Microsoft can't appeal or lose the appeal there, some of the experts I spoke to say they might just carve out the UK on its own, set up a secondary business where they'll just operate as they do now, separate entities. And on the global scale, you would have Microsoft and Activision being able to offer their services as one. So you would have basically what Microsoft wants to do is make its cloud gaming platform the best in the world. Frankly, it is right now as far as offerings go and capabilities. And then they'll be able to grow in the mobile gaming space. Another part that a lot of people aren't talking about, but an important piece of this discussion. Now, they would be able to do that everywhere else in the world. People would be able to play games on their smartphones that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do because of cloud gaming. And then the UK would just be left kind of in the dust. And perhaps down the line that would change. But it looks like if they are able to go forward in the US, then the UK will just be left behind.
I mean, it does seem like that will be the case, especially if the US follows the EU suit. The UK will be there like Billy, no mates, no friends. Eventually, I think they will come around, but I guess we'll have to see. Dan Howley, thank you so much.
So that's the carve out. And we know who spoke about that prior to all this was Michael Pachter. He was from what I understand, he was the first one that brought that up in terms of the carve out. Do we think that's possible? Where, hey, Microsoft established a third party company in UK, give that company sole ownership of Activision UK. From there, they run things standard as they always been, meaning that no Call of Duty on Game Pass and no Call of Duty on cloud in UK. And then outside of the UK, it's the new moves. It's the bit. It's you're getting Call of Duty on Game Pass, and you're getting access to it via cloud everywhere else but UK. If that was to happen, though, how would the UK market? How are they going to respond? Is it going to be enough backlash from consumers to say, "Look, y'all doing us dirty right now"? You mean everywhere else get the access Game Pass, get Call of Duty from Game Pass for just $10 to $15 a month, and get to run their Activision games via cloud everywhere else, and we can't? Will enough pressure amount from the UK gaming community that can force changes down the road if that was to take place? Shout out to Jury Worthy with the $2. He said, okay, Worthy, okay, 13. Okay, just created one. Get at me, post. I got you, Worthy. I ain't calling you James, but I got you, Worthy. Okay, let me see here. UK. Hey, look. I will say this, though. Right? I think we're at a pivotal moment right now in gaming, specifically for Microsoft, right? This deal is huge. It's big for them in terms of what they're trying to do, right? The path that they have laid out in terms of subscription services, in terms of cloud services, in terms of trying to figure out their way into mobile, right? It's pivotal because Activision helps speeds up that timeline. It cuts it significantly, right? Right? Because at that point, we'll have some of the world, if not some of the world's biggest games in Game Pass that will help push the service, right? Then we make those games accessible via cloud, no matter what cloud services you use, right? From there, that affects our monthly active users, right? Because I think in some way, or some shape or form, that Microsoft is going to use the monthly active users from the monthly active user information from GeForce Now, from Boosteroid, and all the other ones. I'm pretty sure they're going to find some way to use it, or have something in the deal where they can use it and say, look, our games now that we on Activision, it's accessible by these many people across this many platforms, making our overall monthly active user this much bigger, right? That's the goal, right? That's the goal. So I think it's pivotal. Number two, I think it's pivotal in terms of the whole tech landscape, period. And that's why everybody is watching. Big tech, small tech, everybody is watching to see how this deal is going to play out, because big tech needs to know what it's going to be able to buy and can't buy. Big tech is looking at this whole process and what these regulators are taking Microsoft through and saying, look, if we try to buy this, will we get that Microsoft treatment that they're getting with Activision, right? Also, we need to know in the future what type of guidelines and things in place that we need to follow in order for us to be big tech, but still be able to acquire things and be successful without being hindered, right? Because right now the philosophy between the FTC and the CMA, and you heard it when Satya said it. Satya said, big is bad, right? And that's the thing. They was like, look, we don't care about law. We don't care about the facts or none of that. If you are a big company, anything that you're trying to acquire is automatically bad. And that's how the FTC and the CMA is approaching this whole matter. And it doesn't make sense. That's why if you read all the newspaper articles all the articles, the online articles, if you listen to all the analysts, they are baffled. They are baffled. Like, what the heck is going on? Yes, sir. The UK is, and you know what? Look, let me tell y'all something. Brad Smith and Bobby didn't say that for no reason. It's just like if you from the streets or you've been in the streets, when you have the ability to talk and communicate without, someone knowing, you just told your peoples, look, man, they closed for business over there, man. They over there on some shady shit. You feel me? They over there. That's pretty much what you're saying. And the biggest company as Microsoft is, when they say, even Activision, but more so Microsoft, when Microsoft going out in public and saying that the UK is closed for business, that's impactful. And the UK knows it. What happens if CMA and FTC spike about? You mean spoke about blocking together? It'll be illegal. That'll be illegal. It'll be some issues there. Because you heard Sarah. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find. Let me see here. You heard Sarah talk about it has to be, in order for them to talk about, to have a conversation with other regulatory bodies, to honestly really go in depth with that conversation, they had to have waivers in place, right? She stated they had waivers in place when it came to the European Commission. So they pretty much was able to speak freely. Outside of the waivers, all conversations should be limited in terms of what the conversation is. So if there's no waivers in place, then the conversation has to be limited to specific information. What specific information that is, I don't know. But she stated that towards the end of the deal, that there was no waivers in place with the FTC. And if that's the case, then why are you flying to Washington to speak with Lena Khan? And that goes back to say, look, we're from America. I'm from America, right? We know how these politicians and these companies are. They find loopholes. You see how many tax loopholes it is? So if you tell me, yeah, hold on. If you, and it's in the kitchen, it should be in the black bottom. And condition your hair too. Shampoo and condition. So if you're telling me that without a waiver that I'm limited in terms of the specifics of the conversation, right? And I know when I'm limited on, then I know what I can say, what I can't say, but I know how to say what I can't say. You feel me? Hold on. I'm going to say that again. If you're limiting me in terms of the specifics of the conversation, right? And I know what I'm limited to in terms of what I'm able to talk about, right? Then I know what I can say and what I can't say, but I know how to say what I can't say. You feel me? I'm just keeping it 100. I know how to say what I can't say. There's loopholes in everything. There are loopholes in everything. Right? Game Pass is more realistic than paying $6 billion for GTA 6. Now, Take-Two is good, man. I don't think if anybody acquires Take-Two, it won't be Microsoft or Sony. I will say that. If anybody buys Take-Two, it won't be Microsoft or Sony, right? This Activision deal, if y'all think Call of Duty is causing the problem, GTA, that's a whole nother behemoth. That's a whole nother behemoth. And that's one game that can shift a market, that can shift a fan base. Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Yes, it's big. It's a big shooter that everybody plays. But GTA, that can shift a market. It has that much power. So Microsoft all of the rumors going around, all of the speculation about Take-Two being purchased by Microsoft, and nah. Yeah, and Embracer dealing with some. They just got hit. They market cap just got hit. You know, it drops significantly. I don't know. Is they gonna be clean swooped up? You know. Let me do this here. Let me see here. Let me see here. All right, so let me go here to my thing. Also, I want to get y'all perspective on this. Let me cut away from the ABK stuff for a minute. And let me watch this. Because this was already had dropped after I came back from the job place. What do y'all think about this MK1 trailer? It's CGI. I think a lot of people was hoping to see gameplay. What? Man, you better stop playing, man. I feel like we just had MK11. They said it's gonna have new. I'm gonna look up the new specifics after this trailer played. But I this is my first time really getting a chance to look at it. The CGI look fire though. That Liu Kang? Yeah, that Liu Kang. Fatality is good. Oh, get old. Story gets played. Aaron, I was thinking about that. Did he just pull a Shane song? Fatalities get old. Story gets played. I need good fighting mechanics. Like MKX. Are y'all tired of fatalities? Huh? Mortal Kombat 1. It looks like a reboot, right? It looks like a reboot. Are y'all tired of Mortal Kombat? Do y'all go through say MK needs a break? Greg Rizzo say not me, post. I'm gonna be knocking out motherfuckers with Raiden and all that. People are getting hyped for these games. Stop playing after a month, bro.
Mortal Kombat. Can you hear me? What's going on, people? What up?
Play say what's good? I get you, bro. Play say the engine is just horrid. Feels like fighting underwater. Wow, that's how you feel, play, man. Okay, hey, you know what, play? You claim to be the fighting game enthusiast. Then what fighting games would you recommend to the chat? Huh? Mortal Kombat is trending. Okay, so let's look at here. So let's say a reborn universe created by fire god Liu Kang. Look, I haven't been up on the Mortal Kombat universe and what's taking place in terms of the story mode. But who the hell is fire god Liu Kang?
Hey, hold on. First of all, Liu Kang beat the Time Beast and became a god.
Who was the
on
Time
the last
Beast?
Mortal Kombat? It was a time. I forgot the name of the character. I know she had a bald head, but she controlled time and dimensions. And he beat her and became a god, a real god. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so
white body god.
So Liu Kang beat the time chick who can control times and dimensions, and after he beat her, he became the fire god.
He's now the gods. The gods.
So he created his own universe
of him being the gods.
Right. So he created his own universe because it said reborn universe created by fire god Liu Kang. So Liu Kang created a universe in his image.
My impression, my assumption. Don't take this with a can of paint. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Upon him beating her, he reversed back time and made time more peaceful and whatever the case may be for the people that had lost their lives. So it is like you saying his redemption of the world.
So he
after the battle. After
the battle, he took her powers.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm putting you on the spot, ain't it? Google my friend. Google my friend. Don't come in here talking that Mortal Kombat shit.
I can't Google it because it just ain't Googleable. But
wait. No, play saying you're right. Play saying you're right. I'm just saying.
I'm 100% right on what I'm
just
saying.
How he take up power. I mean, you go whoop somebody ass, but that don't mean it. Well, in this case, I can see in these made up universes where you whoop somebody ass.
This is more to combat.
It's a transfer of power. So he took her power, got the ability, so he controls dimensions and time now.
He's in her position now. What she was doing, he controls it.
Okay, so he rewind time.
This my assumption on him rewinding time in a more peaceful realm where everyone was
instead of just creating something. Instead of just creating
chaos.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
all right. I just want to know. Look, I haven't
right now
beat a Mortal Kombat story in a minute. Y'all know Post don't play no games.
Oh, that last one was beautiful. It was well put together. And it made a whole lot more sense. Yeah.
Xavier Bay said her name is Chronica.
Okay.
Or Chronica, one of them. If she from the hood, her name Chronica. If she from the hood, Xavier Bay, her name is Chronica. You feel me? If she from the hood, you know what I'm saying? And my brother play. Look, the fighting guru, right? Time Beast is some trash they made up, like they do every game to further this horrid story, to further this horrid game. That's what this. I can't. Hey, you know what? Play. Where you at? Where your ass at?
Jesus
Christ. Hey, DM me on Twitter. Play. I need to get you on right now. We need to see what issues you have. Matter of fact, let me open up Discord. I'm finna DM you on Discord right now. We need to see what is your disdain for Mortal Kombat. We're talking about a legend in the game that's helped set the stage along with Street Fighter for every fighting game after of it. And you're sitting up here. Let me see you. Let me check you on.
I mean, destroying the game.
There you go, right there.
Yeah, that was I couldn't remember the name. It was a minute since I played it. But yeah, Jeremy Brown, that DLC was dope. I remember this story because I was like, hold on, Liu Kang is that nigga right now.
Check your DMs. Check your DMs on the Discord, brother. We gonna put you on the pedal. You know what I'm saying? We gonna put you on Front Street. We need to know.
I still want Shaolin Monk though, man. That's my disdain with these cats right now.
You there, play?
How about Jack's in that had the game was upset? Yeah, the going back to slavery joint. Yep.
Who went back to slavery?
Jack's joint had a slavery scene.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Wait,
what? Come back with it in a bag with it, bro.
Right,
I'm trying to tell you.
We can. Okay, my brother.
Wait,
hold on.
Brody?
What's good, brother?
What's up, bro?
How you feeling, man? How you been? How you and the family?
The family's doing well. I'm sick, trying to get over. I'm actually coming to Chicago on Monday for work. But other than that, I'm doing well.
Oh man, wish you some recovery, man.
Yeah.
Healing in Jesus' name.
Oh, here we go.
You feel me? Now, brother, play.
Here we go. Yeah,
the fighting guru, right?
I wouldn't say that, but you know, I got enough time in them.
Okay, what is your deal with Mortal Kombat?
Hold on, let me ask a quick question. Do you got the fighting stick?
I got a hitbox, bro. All right.
Did you?
Yes.
You got a customized. You got a customized hitbox.
I got a custom hitbox. All right, one on all.
Oh yeah. He the real deal. Right. He the real deal. Go ahead, sir.
Oh no. Let me tell you something.
He the real deal. Go ahead.
No. I do not question play ability to play. The brother is a dog in most fighting games he pick up, if not all of them. The brother
he tried to come in humble. He tried to come in humble.
I am humble.
I rise and dazzle win the fights here and there. No,
bro, know his fighting shit, bro. Bro know his fighting shit, bro. What is your disdain with Mortal Kombat, man?
I just don't like the engine. That's all. That's really all it is. Because compared to most fighting games, like the moves take longer to come out. The frames are longer. It just feels like I'm fighting underwater. Like I don't like Mortal Kombat because I got kids and stuff, and I can't really play that around them, and I don't really like all the gore. But I played a lot of Injustice, and it's just the move. When you play Street Fighter V, you go to Mortal Kombat, it's like playing a slower game. It's kind of what I don't like about Street Fighter 6 too, because Street Fighter 6 is slower than Street Fighter 5. But Street Fighter 6 gonna have $1 million tournament. It's gonna be a boatload of people playing it, and you can play cross regions because of the great netcode. So I'm gonna be in there. I want all the smoke. Anybody in the chat want to play Street Fighter 6? Just hit me up.
Shit!
I'm gonna be in there day 0, and you can catch this not work. All right.
So you calling people out?
Anybody want to play? I'm in trading mode day 0, and I'm gonna be in there for
anybody can get it.
Yeah. Wait. They're gonna have $1 million tournament with Street Fighter 6?
Capcom announced a $1 million prize pool for the Capcom Cup this year, which is the most I think it's the most in fighting game history. So they're gonna have a boatload of people, like the tournament scene.
You got to rank, right?
There's ways to qualify for it. Yeah, you got to rank up, obviously. I'm not gonna be playing. I'm not gonna be playing professionally because I don't have the time to travel like that. But I'm gonna try to be pretty good at the game. I'm gonna tell you that. All right.
Okay. All right. Look, man, I grew up on Mortal Kombat.
So did I. And that story's not trash. I just don't like Mortal Kombat. But he's right about the story with the Kronika, since we're in the hood. Kronika, whatever.
Yeah, Kronika. Crow. Nika.
Crow. That's Crow.
But yeah, he pretty much this kind of was the overall state of the game. The world was in such a bad state. In order for them to win, they pretty much had to go fight this lady Kronika in order to defeat her and pretty much earn the right to rewrite the timeline so that they could have a more peaceful beginning, because the only way to fix things was to go all the way back to the beginning, because things were so bad. They couldn't fix things, just by defeating Shang Tsung or whatever.
Oh.
Now, because I watched it on YouTube, I didn't play it, but I did watch the whole story. On YouTube,
I'm a video game guru, so I helped out. I just gave you the hood version. You feel me?
So I did watch the whole thing, and that's pretty much what happened. This story is really, it's really good. Even though I said
it was good.
Okay, so only way, because at this point, keep fighting Shang Tsung over and over again ain't gonna really fix anything. Yeah, and so they had to say, okay, we need to figure out a way to reset everything.
Yeah, so that's why you see Liu Kang so strong in the trailer because he pretty much beat her, took over her powers. I think he had to select like 2 or 3 other friends or fighters or whatever that had to join him, or
Yeah, and that's the
I
other
think he
two
had.
that was standing on the side of him. Is
I
those the
believe
two?
so. Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. And I think one of the things he couldn't like select Katana.
Mm-hmm.
Katana has lost love or whatever, and she
Yeah.
was just he pretty much had to like people going to forget who he was because the timeline's getting reset, so all the memories and all the history, that stuff is wiped. So it was a
Okay.
pretty big sacrifice for him to do what he had to do.
Yeah, because at that point, him and Katana and the relationship and the love they had no longer exists.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Even the friendships he made at that point,
exactly all of
everything
that.
is gone.
Yeah.
And everything is reset. So hence the Mortal Kombat run, because everything has to go back to the beginning.
Yeah, and what it sounds like here, it sounds like, at least from because I would watch the trailer and listen to some of the narrative, sounds like you kind of get to determine which way things are going to go.
Yeah,
from
that's
that
why it
starting
kept
point.
saying choices. I got the same thing you saying from that.
So it looks like it's going to pick up right from where he beat the boss. Because you do get to determine that to some degree, but this seems a little more intricate, I guess. So I'm guessing the story is going to kind of go as you dictate it to go.
Dictating if you want to go good or bad, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds
bring
like.
back the chaos or keep the peace.
Yeah.
That type
Now
of
the
thing.
problem I got with the game, it's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
cameo fighter. It's going to be an assist-based fighter. So there's going to be characters that. So have you ever watched any Dragon Ball Fighter Z? That's like an assist-based fighter.
Yeah.
Well, this
They
one's going
jump
to have
in and out.
cameo. Yeah, they jump in and out. But you actually
Oh,
can,
nah.
you actually can swap them in and fight with them. In this game,
Yeah,
it's going to be a cameo fighter where they're going to be characters on the roster that you can't actually fight with. You only can select them as assists. So they can come in, do a few things, and then they hop back out.
and then hop out the game.
You can't actually go and select
Control
them
their actions when they swap
Exactly.
in. Okay, so they
Exactly.
come in, do a pre-treated move, and then they hop their ass back out.
Exactly. So I'm curious as to which fighters
Would that be
those are gonna
related
be.
to the? Would that be related more to the story, or maybe how they gonna blend the
I don't
story with
know.
the action?
Possibly. I mean, you want me to be honest, Mello. I don't even think about that angle. I think about how they just gonna try to get the money up out of our pockets. That's all really I'm thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
Because my question is, which
they're gonna run up the
characters-
DLC.
Exactly. Which characters you're gonna make are accessible to actually fight with? Which ones are cameo? You're gonna have various outfits. I just got a feeling that it's gonna be a love-hate relationship around this.
Oh, I think I know that. I think I got an idea what they probably
Shout out
do
to
with
Black Ronin 357 with the $5. Why is Mortal Kombat 1 launching on the Switch? Isn't that going to hold back the game design? I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I didn't even know it was launching on the Switch.
Yeah. I think I said that in the trailer announcement, the bottom part of it. But yeah, I think what they was gonna do though, because that's a nice way to add in the DLC characters, because they'll have a little backstory to add into the game. Like you'll see them in the world.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
That'd be kind of nice though.
And they kind of need to, because if you look at Street Fighter 6 World Tour, because Street Fighter 6 gonna have a lot of cameo appearances of characters throughout their lore in their World Tour mode, where you can interact with them in World Tour, but you can't choose them in the real fighting game.
Okay.
So it's interesting that they're both kind of going that route where they're using more of their intellectual property in a game, even though you can't select everybody. Because for them, it's a lot less work to write an assist-based character than it is to write a full-fledged character design-wise. And they
already pre-cammed and already you can build a little bit of backstory with them if need be.
Yeah, so
especially if they're gonna do new characters in the story. So they kind of.
But did they say, because I'm new to, I haven't really looked at the in-depth details on what they announced today. Like
they've announced it.
He said new fighting system, game modes, finishers, etc., cross-play, cross-progression.
Because I listened to a fighting game YouTuber called Rufflemonger,
Uh-huh.
and he's like always on top of this stuff. And I was listening to it earlier. That's how I found out about the cameo stuff and all of those types of things. So we'll see how it goes. But in terms of tournament, I expect it to be a big tournament game for sure, because it always is.
Yeah,
so,
pretty much.
Wait, so they didn't announce the assist-based fighter feature today. You just heard through the grapevine.
No, I think it's on some blog post or someplace somewhere. I was driving at the time, so
Okay.
I didn't go like into researching it. But the guy I listened to, he doesn't report usually on rumors as rumors. So,
Okay.
but it should be interesting. It should be an interesting game. I'm pretty sure it'll be.
I'm just going off the info he just dropped. It sounds good though.
Yeah,
it makes a great
bad.
way of introducing the DLC if they're gonna go that way, but and give a little bit more backstory, because at first you just get a character and then they just have a finishing move and a little saying and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it brings in a little bit more depth to feel with the game, and then on top of that, if they doing these expansions where we just keep getting content, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, you got a little backstory to it. That'd be nice.
I mean, you getting Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter 6 in the same year, which is surprising.
Already
so
yeah.
The next 5 years for fighters is going to be pretty.
Okay.
And now I know it's their first announcement. I wonder what their whole accessibility feature stuff is going to be in terms of
Lord.
in terms of trying to cater to the casual, because that's always the FGC's issue, is that casual gamers don't stay long enough. So I wonder how the response is going to be to that, because Street Fighter 6 is a little mixed. We'll see how it works out. But
okay, to answer Black Ronin 357 question, he said, "I'm looking." He said MK launching on Switch. Well, according to this facts blog that they put up, QLock is developing the Steam and Epic Game Store version, meaning the PC version. And then Shiver Entertainment and Saber Interactive are developing the Nintendo Switch versions of the game. And then I guess NetherRealm will be developing the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S. So I don't think the Switch version will be the same as the PC, and that's a whole different tackle.
I mean, that's no different than what Call of Duty did for like Warzone. Activision didn't do the PC version of Warzone. They had a whole separate developer that focused just on the PC. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Switch will be crossplay. I'm pretty sure PC, PlayStation, and Xbox will be, but I don't think there'll be any feature difference. It's just so they can have a team primarily focused on one platform.
They got the beta coming out August of this year.
Bro, did he just drop out?
I think he probably did, but what's going on? How would you say? Link to Discord? Okay. So, hold on. All right. Dang, I only got 5 minutes myself. So which one you think gonna be hot this year? Because looking at, I'm hearing that Killer Instinct supposed to be having a update too, allegedly.
Yeah, well, they're moving their stuff over to PlayFab.
Oh, okay.
They're moving all
Killer
their
Instinct.
Killer Instinct moving all their stuff over to PlayFab.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
So that's a back end. That's a
back
end.
The back end stuff. If you, now I'm not going to get into any specifics. If you just go read up on PlayFab, and majority of, if not all, third-party games.
Street Fighter 6 using PlayFab.
And PlayFab is owned by Microsoft. And majority of, let me tell you something. Majority of, if not all,
what I say,
multiplayer games and some runs through PlayFab.
What I say, Post. Y'all finna work on a new world order here. Microsoft finna take over gaming on the back end.
Everybody use PlayFab. I mean,
Capcom is using it faithfully.
So if you pre-order it, the Mortal Kombat 1 beta, which will be available in August of this year, I might. Which characters will be available? Mortal Kombat 1 will feature reimagined fighters like they've never been seen before, including Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Kung Lao, Katana, Mileena, Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage, and many others. And those are the standard ones that people look for.
Right
there. These right here are the standard ones that let me put this back on screen. That people look for. No, you good. And
Shang Tsung on pre-ordering all that.
What are cameo fighters and how do they work in Mortal Kombat? One, a cameo fighter are a unique roster of partner characters to assist during matches, creating expanded gameplay possibilities for players. These characters are chosen separately from the main roster of fighters. Oh, so I see. So my guessing, given that it's Mortal Kombat, you'll have like a dual fatality system, right?
Ooh.
Where you probably can use that cameo
Hold
fighter.
on, you talking about tag team finishing moves, brother?
Yeah.
Hold
probably.
Bro, I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him, bro.
I can yeet a nigga across the screen with a with a haymaker slide. Oh nah.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Lord.
It's gonna extend combos too, like combos that weren't possible for juggles and all that type of stuff. It's gonna extend.
You know what? They kind of or you gotta finish your move while you in the middle of doing a combo juggle, and then the nigga come out the screen.
You excited?
Ooh. Hey, I'm just saying they're gonna implement WWE moves as finishing moves, and you already know the last one was gory as hell. Like you got
this one looks like it's more gory, judging from that trailer.
So just imagine you got two people whooping your ass. Oh no, this is a real life game.
We'll have rollback netcode to support online gameplay. Okay. Somebody telling me to check Discord. Let me see here.
Yeah, that's middle finger.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Given how diabolical the Mortal Kombat creators is when they're talking about finishing moves, I wouldn't be surprised if they do dual finishing moves where you can.
They're gonna have to, bro.
That's gonna be wicked.
When you'll be able to do a finishing move. Discord.
I'm sorry, I was a violent individual, so I took Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter. But
I'm gonna say it's a guaranteed it's gonna be in the game because there has to be, if they're doing assist stuff, it has to offer more than
just in
fighters. It has to offer more than something like that.
Just to walk in and give a couple punches and
and I hope and that's what I'm saying. I hope it's not something that's like normal, like you were saying in the Dragon Ball Z joint. You just come in, and you don't expand on that the possibilities that can come along with that assistant fighters and the stuff. Especially in a Mortal Kombat realm, you could really do some devious shit with an assistant partner.
What if it's a combo in the middle of the fight?
Yeah, that's what it's going to be.
Remember how you got the little brutality thing or the forgiveness joint? Ooh,
yeah, that's going to be stuff like that. I almost guarantee it's going to be stuff like that.
Hey man, say
for
man,
that trash game.
They change everything.
Okay.
Hold on, they change everything.
Okay, somebody dropped the Liu Kang ending. In the Discord. I got it, Middleton. Shout out to Middleton with the $2. They dropped the ending in the Discord for me to check out.
You handing out DLC leaks, man. You bogus. You gonna spoil the movie.
Well, I ain't going back to play that damn storyline. I could just watch that shit. Shout out to Frederick Lewis with the $2. Tekken 8 won't be out till 2024.
Yeah. Really? It's delayed?
Wait, what?
I thought it was coming out this fall.
Wait. Hold on. Didn't they just wait? Hold on. You looking up on that play?
It don't have a confirmed release date. It's supposed to release this year.
It said to be announced.
Yeah.
You say TBA. So it could be pushed. Ain't no telling.
Maybe it'll get announced at EVO.
I do want to I got my brother.
Nobody care about Tekken.
I got y'all here. I do want to bring this up. Let me see here. Let me go here. And let me go here. I learned to stop sharing my screen when I go into my DMs. Ooh, Lord, I did too
they
many
be lurking. They be lurking.
Too many times. Too many times. I do want to okay. So please take this with a grain of salt. Let me drop that.
I'm gonna take it as fact. Spread it on my Twitter account I don't have.
Oh man.
All right. So
and run with it.
Yep.
This leaker named Oops Leaks. The new Bioshock is in development hell. Said despite a complete change in development leadership, the Bioshock series is still haunted by the curse of problematic development No game details will be described here. And this is likely to be my final report on the next Bioshock, which is, I think, named Bioshock Isolation.
How long the account been active?
Let's see here.
Yeah, I gotta head out. Finna go to my daughter's graduation. Y'all be smooth.
Yes, sir. Bro. Congratulations, man.
I appreciate it.
Let me see here. The account been active since
2017.
Okay. And they got a lot of followers. I gotta go in there and see what other thing they predicted. In the summer of 2022, the project was rebooted for the 4th time. The constant changes in development teams and concepts do not bode well for the future of the series. The settings is probably staying the same, but the game is currently being dramatically rewritten. Give me a second. The work structure is highly disorganized. Unfortunately, development has been affected by complications such as the pandemic and Quebec's Bill 96. There is a very high staff turnover with numerous contract workers whose tasks are then redone by less qualified specialists. Sound like 343. I ain't gonna lie. The studio has a significant number of employees without any visible experience, which is highly unusual considering the requirements of 3 to 7 years of experience for most positions. The narrative team has faced the biggest challenges as they have been unable to write a script worthy of a renowned franchise over these years. This became a key factor of the reboot. I guess this is the full pipeline. Certain Affinity, somewhere until 2017, original Parkside. So Certain Affinity was working on it at some point. Pre-established Cloud Chamber, 2017 to 2019, Twin Cities. Established Cloud Chamber, 2019 to summer 22. And Arctic City, and then the newest reboot, summer 22 to current day. So are those all the reboots it went through? It looks like it. Original was the Parkside, then they went to Twin Cities, then they went to Antarctic City. Now they got rebooted it again.
Well, it sounds like they can't make up their mind what they want certain things to be.
Yeah, exactly. After almost a year since this reboot, everything seemingly started to getting back on track. Cloud Chamber trademark was reapplicated this March. Yesterday's T2 investor call indicates that they are still planning to ship it in fiscal 2025. The amount of job listing is at an all-time low, I guess. But this does not change the fact that the next Bioshock game is in a circle of limbos. If it won't be announced this summer, it's more likely facing a total clusterfuck and has zero chances of being released fiscal year 2025 as initially planned. Poor management, uncertainty about financial success, and questionable staff decisions are the reason why the development of this game is going so difficult and taking so long. Lack of any significant updates or announcements only creates more confusion about the game's future. Wow. Which, man, I forgot all about that Bioshock was even being rebooted.
Who makes Bioshock? I don't remember. Was it EA? Because I never played one.
No, it was Take-Two. And I think the Levine dude that was just on what's the name, Collins podcast. I think he did the first 2 Bioshocks, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know if he's heading up this one. I don't know. But when did Bioshock? Yeah, Ken Levine. He did the first 2 Bioshocks, if I'm not mistaken. Especially he led the way on the first one. I don't know if he's even heading on this remake. It doesn't sound like it, given the shit that it's going through.
Well, I can tell you my perspective. I don't do game development. I only do iOS development. But I'm gonna use the what's the name of that game that Microsoft had on stage, like 2017 when they announced the Xbox One X. It was that Destiny-like game. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I can't remember the name of it. It's a game that came out and it was like in a horrible state by EA. It was a looter that EA made in 2007. I think it released in like 2018. I cannot remember the name of it for me to save my life. But anyway, that game apparently was given a 5-year developer cycle. And apparently for like 3.5 to 4 years, it was in pre-production.
Damn.
And then got rushed out the last year. And the game, when it like the alpha, the beta, the open beta, and the release were all horrible. So this game still sounds like it's in pre-production.
Pre-production, yeah. Yep.
The only thing that gives me hope for it is it's still in pre-production. And it looks like until they get that settled, they're not going to move forward. So
yeah,
might be in whatever state this guy is saying it's in.
Yeah.
But if they're willing to wait to get that settled out before they move forward, and they're willing to maybe it takes 10, 15 years, I don't know. But maybe this will be a solid game when it comes out. This doesn't disturb me that much, other than it's just taking a long time. And maybe there's bad morale in the company. But it just doesn't sound like a game that's got it's it's in this bad development state, but it's still coming out in 2024. So it's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the first Bioshock, when I seen it, that opening scene for its time was amazing. The game really set a graphical bar back then, and the gameplay was fire. I didn't know about this what seems to be a either Bioshock 4. I don't know if it's a reboot, but it from what I'm reading, it seems like they're trying to reboot it and can't find any direction on it at all. I would think it would be a great project given the gameplay mechanics that it had back then, along with the graphic engine that it had. That it was subpar. It was crazy back then, and I think a game like that now on today's hardware can really play and look amazing. But it looked like they running in circles.
Yeah,
they're running in circles.
Anthem was a game I was thinking about.
Yeah, Anthem. Yeah. They're running in circles, and I wonder, is it because in terms of the gaming world we live in, where multiplayer aspect of games are so pivotal right now, where I mean, single player games still sell and they do great if they're great, but where publishers and companies are looking to get residuals and terms of finances and stuff like that, and make a lot more or extend the income through multiplayer. I don't even think I see a multiplayer based Bioshock game.
I don't. And you said who's making it? Take-Two?
Yeah.
And what other Take-Two that make 2K? What other games they make that make them a bunch of money?
Yeah.
Is it just 2K? There's another one that I'm not thinking about.
Yeah, let me see. Take-Two. I know 2K make them hella money.
Right. They got other service games. I'm pretty sure they can afford to make a full-out single-player game.
Yeah.
Unlike Sony, who finally figured out they need to make service games. But they keep closing studios and doing other things around these service games. But that's a whole other discussion.
And then they got GTA too and all that. GTA and Take-Two over there. They over there eating.
Yeah,
they over there eating.
That's and if like he said, 2025. There's a reason they can wait till 2025.
Yeah,
that's no problem for them.
Yeah. Shout out to look. I'm not fit to say that name. I'm gonna just call you SNS, brother. Let me tell you. Look, y'all be popping up in the chat with these weird names. SNS with the $5. Finally catching your show live post. Just showing some love. Keep up the good work. Thanks, bro. Thanks, SNS. Bro, y'all be killing me with these names, man. Texas say Take-Two canceled several unannounced games and delayed a few others. This seems to be one of the delays. Hey, I forgot all about this though. I forgot all about. It hasn't even been announced yet, though. It was leaked. It was rumored then back in 2021. I don't see where they ever announced it. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Let me see here. Bioshock. Yeah. Isolation. They got a trailer. Let me see. Yeah, this ain't even been. Everything I'm seeing on this is leaks. No announcements. Yeah, and this is everything we know about Bioshock 4. Rumor. Yeah, so I don't even think it's really even been officially announced yet. And that's rumor. New Bioshock made free. And that's crazy though, that's crazy because if we look here, right? Look here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was pre-established Cow Chamber, 2017 to 2019 Twin Cities, right? If you go back to November of 2021, that's when Game Rant put out a rumor saying, look, new Bioshock may feature 2 cities and be called Bioshock Isolation. So yeah, this I think this leak got some
legs.
Yeah, got some legs, some validity to it, man. Well, any Bioshock, you ain't really into Bioshock, are you?
Nah, bro. I don't play that many games no more, bro. I play a few games, bro. I'm probably the most fraudulent dude in the gaming industry, and I don't care.
Oh man, what you playing now?
Bro, I'm still playing Apex Legends ranked.
Oh wow!
When Street Fighter 6 drop, I'm gonna be playing that. I'm pretty much playing Apex ranked till Street Fighter 6 drops, and I'll pretty much be on Street Fighter 6 for the next few years. I'm gonna play Star Wars, but I just can't afford to pay for it right now, so I'm saving up for Street Fighter. And wow, sweetie, wow, just do that while I'm on the mic. So I just don't play a lot of games like that. Like if it's not competition and there's not a pro scene around it, I don't give it a lot of time. Like I'm a PC gamer at heart, bro. I grew up playing Counter-Strike, as you know, Quake, the greatest FPS ever. I just grew up around a pro scene and a competitive scene. And once probably a product of me being an only child, once I got into multiplayer, it was just like, what's the point of me really primarily playing single player games again? And it's one thing when you hop in. I just like to hop in a game where there's a pro scene, bro. I can run into pros in ranked. I can talk trash to them on the stream. I can get waxed to the first to 10 if I want. I mean, it just don't really matter to be like that. Like the single player game.
So you're more so you're more so on a competitive. Well, not so more so on a competitive scene, but you're into multiplayer games.
I'm into multiplayer games that have a competitive community.
Okay.
Yep.
Competitive.
Pretty much.
And Apex is I played Apex for a little while, but I jumped on out of that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You rank pretty high in Apex, correct?
I'm okay. I mean, Diamond doesn't mean that much. I don't play in the pro scene, but
this man trying to be y'all hit this man. Look at play. Yeah,
bro.
I'm not
ranked. Diamond's not that high in Apex. All right. If I was Pred as a solo player, then I could be at a.
If you was what?
If I was Pred, which is like top 750 on a platform and ranked, then I could say something. But it's not that hard to get to Diamond. I mean, especially with the way the new rank system they just introduced, which broken everything. It's probably the easiest season to rank up ever.
Okay, so we're gonna move along, and since
you got this up. This
yeah, we finna talk about this. Since my brother Mello slid out because his daughter got a graduation. Shout out to her and him. I'm gonna have play here. We finna talk about this PlayStation Showcase and what we expect from it. It's gonna be a little bit over an hour. And what you think about this? And them announcing it this quick, I won't say this quick, but the announcement came out of nowhere. even though
it always comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, even though it was rumored to be announced, and for it to be just Wednesday on May 24th, and before Microsoft, which is all the way in June.
But Sony did that like the last. I think they've done that like whenever Microsoft has announced their show 2 months in advance, Sony waits like 2 weeks before they announce their show. That's always before Microsoft. They do that all the time.
So what you think about this?
I think they'll show Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
I think they'll show some type of updated content for factions. What that'll be.
I
don't know, but I expect it to be more than just concept art.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll announce some games. They'll announce some years with it. I think Wolverine will get an announcement year.
I see that about. I'll be surprised if it's 2024.
I would be too.
I'll be really surprised if it's 2024, if it's next year. But I would assume 2025.
Yeah, so would I. I don't think Insomniac's going to announce at least 2 games within a 1-year span. Outside of that, I mean, I guess we're going to see one of these at least. Let me not say one. No, maybe it had to be one. Here's my I don't know why Sony trying to make so many service games.
Yeah, they didn't cancel some already.
I know that. So maybe we'll see one of those. Because they were, what they say they had like 10 or 12?
10 or 12 within the next 2 years.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but your player base not playing all 10 to 12 of them games. So I guess they're trying to see which one will stick. So I assume they'll announce 1 or 2 of those.
Okay.
It's a 60-minute show, and they tend to. There'll be some indies there that are third party.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't know. They've been really quiet about what they got coming. So
I will say this: I know we're going to get Sony Band. We probably get a look at Sony Band new game.
Oh, their new game.
Yeah, their new game, because they put out a tweet earlier today about that. Then I think third party wise, I think Project Awakening. I think they're going to do thing Ragnarok get announced at this showcase, and I do think it get announced for PC. And I do think it rolled out either sometime towards the end of this year or early next year.
I'd have to agree with him regarding that. Yeah. I completely forgot that PlayStation is a PC developer now.
Yeah, they are PC. Ain't no, you remember you remember what they used to tell us?
Oh yeah, I know.
Huh? Ain't no need. We don't need PC. Microsoft need PC. Sony, boy, I ain't need to get into all that.
Hey, you know what I think? I always say Sony is 7 years behind.
Yep.
They sell more, but their infrastructure.
7 years? Why you say that?
You want me to give you the timeline?
Yeah, break it down, brother. Give the chat the timeline.
Okay. So Microsoft announced. They announced game. When was the first time they announced Windows games coming to PC? Wasn't that like 2015?
Yeah,
I believe it was 2015. Right, 2015. Then it was in 2016. They announced if you had a Windows 10 PC and you had an Xbox, you could stream your games from your Xbox to your Windows 10 PC. Because I remember doing it. I was doing it with the Division.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe 2016 was the same year they announced Play Anywhere, or was that 2017?
I think it was the same year, 26. Play Anywhere?
Yeah, I think it was Play Anywhere.
It was within that span.
And I think the first title was that Shadow of Mordor game. That was a third-party title.
Yep.
People didn't make a big deal of it, but this was the first time you were seeing an Xbox ecosystem, not just a console. Sony hasn't even got there. That's 7 years ago. That was the precursor to what Microsoft was bringing in with Game Pass. So now what you see, at least with Microsoft games, and I know not a lot of third party does it, you buy a game once on the Xbox, you can play it on a Windows 10 PC, you can play it on your phone, you can play it anywhere. PlayStation's not even there yet. And that was 2016 when that began. It is 2023, and I have yet to see And I'm just talking about that right now. I have yet to see one PlayStation game that I could go buy on not go buy on my console, go buy from PlayStation, and then immediately start playing it on my PC or whatever device I own. So it's been 7 years, and this is still not the case on any device, not just the phone, because the phone stuff came later with xCloud and stuff. So that's still not the case. That's still not in place there. That's number one. Number two, they just don't have the infrastructure that they own to implement it. So they're going to have to use Amazon's or Google's or Microsoft's to do it. And I don't know what approach they want to make because, Microsoft with their whole emulation stuff, even though they're done with the whole backwards compatibility, whatever licensing goes in with all of that, Microsoft has taken care of that already. That was taken care of prior to the Play Anywhere stuff. I have no idea where Sony is with regards to the licensing and legal portion of it. So there's just so many things that are not in place for them to be where Microsoft is at, where they can say we have a gaming ecosystem. Sony cannot say that yet. Only thing Sony can say is we can sell you a game for $70 on PlayStation, and then we can resell you that game for $60 or $70 on PC. That's where they are. So they're still at this place where they develop individual SKUs for individual platforms. Like Take-Two develops 2K for Xbox and 2K for PlayStation. You can't buy one and then go play it on the other one. That's where they're at. So until I see a change, it's hard for me in terms of their infrastructure and ecosystem. That's why the whole monthly active users thing that both companies use, like you were stating earlier, that's Sony's primary concern with the Activision deal.
Yep.
Because they know their monthly active user engagement is going to go through the roof once that goes down. I might not even be able to be caught up to.
Yeah.
So
it'll put Microsoft way ahead. Sony have to. They probably won't ever catch up in terms of if they. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with the other. Microsoft don't have no issue putting their games on these other cloud servers because all that, leads back to their monthly active use. And if you get 150 to 100 million head start, right, before this market even take place, you feel me?
Yeah. So, so then furthermore, Microsoft, what they just announced today, doing that with Gears. I don't know how many first party they announced. I noticed they mainlined Gears as the head part of it. Where the game I bought on Xbox, I can go play on GeForce Now. Well, the whole issue was Call of Duty and Microsoft locking games. Microsoft just opened up their first party game. It sounds like to me, to that whole licensing thing, they just agreed to with the EU.
Yeah, they did.
So Microsoft has realized this is how far ahead they are in terms of infrastructure. This is why they don't care about console sales. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is how many users can we get on our platform. That's all we care about. That's all Nadella cares about.
Yep.
Sony is,
and we don't care how you get in the ecosystem.
Nope,
whereas
we don't
Xbox, PC, GeForce Now, wherever you're playing, as long as we can get you within the ecosystem, because somewhere you're gonna spend some type of money. You might not buy that game from our store, but you're gonna purchase it from another store.
Exactly. And if they get Activision, which they will, Sony, that means a lot of Sony's active users now becomes Microsoft active users. When I tell you Sony's not leading the industry. They are the more popular gaming brand. But the one who's taken hold of the entire industry is Microsoft. It's not Sony. And this is why I say they're 7 years, and might even be more, behind. They're long behind, and they know it.
And guess what, though? And see, I don't even think people even realize what you just said. That all of Call of Duty monthly active users that's on PlayStation becomes Microsoft monthly active users. And guess what? Microsoft get access to that data.
Yeah.
Sony don't want that. Think about it. That was the issue with crossplay.
Yeah.
That was the issue Sony had with crossplay. Right?
Yeah.
Initially. Right? Because they didn't want to feel like Microsoft was incorporating. Remember when I'll take it even back further with Nintendo, with Minecraft, right? And you had to sign up to a live user account. I think that was a live user account, not an Xbox live user account, but just a live user account. And I think people were saying, well, if you have to sign into Microsoft service, that's going to be an issue, and Sony ain't going for all that and things like that. But that's a point. You just made a great point that a lot of people ain't even talked about, including myself. If they get Activision, all them Call of Duty monthly active users become Microsoft monthly active users.
Yep. And you don't need an Xbox Live account. All you need is an Activision account. And they all are, because with the newer Call of Duties, it's required for you to have an Activision account.
Right.
So they're going to get all of that immediately. It's not like it used to be where you had to have a PlayStation account only, and that was it. Now, the Activision ID is what ties you to their games now.
We go even deeper, right? Because what do Activision use right now? They use Amazon, right?
I think so.
Let me see here.
I'm not sure.
Let me check.
They made a deal with Google like a couple years ago, so they might be on Google Cloud, at least for COD.
Okay.
Because I remember they made a deal, and I remember, your boy Moss was like, Call of Duty is coming to Stadia. Because of that whole deal, I kind of remember that whole situation. Shout out to Moss.
L's. He be catching L's left and right.
I ain't gonna lie, I was excited about it too, because I was supporting Stadia at the time.
Okay. So by running real-time analytics and machine learning pipelines, Amazon Web Service, Activision automatically delivers personalized experience to millions of Call of Duty's players daily, increasing player engagement. So they do use Amazon Web Service.
Amazon. Okay.
Right. They do use Amazon Web Service. Okay. Right. So Microsoft acquired in all that shit getting shit.
Yeah, they're going to convert that over.
All that comes over to Azure, right? Y'all got to see why Sony's so scared. Oh man, y'all got to see, y'all got to see what it's there. It makes sense. It is clear as day. It really makes sense. Because all the monthly active user data, and when I say that, I'm not just saying how many players play on COD, and they're gonna get access to all the player data, include time spent, time played, money spent, how much players are spending money on, depending on how long,
how they got converted,
how they got converted, how they gonna get access to all that data.
Yeah, on your competitor's platform. Yeah,
y'all got bro, and you think Sony want that?
Exactly. You got 12 live service games coming out. They about to release Diablo, a live service game. They're going to see how Sony's players react to that. Yeah. So they're going to know how to market future service games on their competitors'
platform. What are we doing here, Blake? Bro, what are we doing? Bro, and that's data that Sony don't want Microsoft to get access to.
Yeah. Like, the Call of Duty is just a way of Sony drawing headlines. But Call of Duty was never the issue. It's always about the data that our competitors are going to get.
Yeah, and that's where the money is.
Yep, money is always in data.
It's in data. Because across Activision, what they had like over 300 million monthly active users.
Mm-hmm.
across. I'm talking about Activision, Blizzard, King.
Yep.
King alone doing crazy numbers. You mean to tell me I get to peek into my competitor's platform?
Yep.
I get all that critical data.
And you could anonymize it all you want.
Yeah.
Anonymizing it just means, okay, I can't see who it is. I can still analyze it. And
I can still
figure out where it's coming from.
Right.
So
that way I know how to better market Call of Duty on my own platform.
Yeah.
Because right now, all that crying Sony did, all that grandstanding they did in terms of Call of Duty is our lifeline. If we lose it, we want it. All that shit didn't do nothing. They threw that shit out the door. Meaning that from a console perspective, if they want to do it, they could do what they want.
Yep.
They could do what they want. If they want to have exclusive content, they can. If they want to put betas out on Xbox before PlayStation, they can now.
Yep.
So now, from that perspective, I ain't fit to see in terms of Call of Duty what makes your fan base tick, go, buy, purchase. What keeps them in the game? What they like, their spending habits. I get to see all of that, right? Yep. And then I get to build a marketing plan around that for my own ecosystem.
Yep. And don't think this the EU requiring them to do this free licensing thing. People gonna take note of that. It might take a while, but people eventually gonna be like, yeah, I can buy this game once on PlayStation, on my PlayStation, and go play it on my phone somewhere, or GeForce Now, or somewhere else. Here's the thing. When Microsoft buying Activision and you got that licensing deal, Microsoft is getting ready to do on PlayStation's platform what they're doing on Xbox's platform, and PlayStation can't even do it on their own platform yet.
Break it down, brother.
That's when I tell you Microsoft is this far, 7 years, I might be understating it. They're getting ready to allow people to buy Call of Duty on a PlayStation, and if they download GeForce Now on their laptop, they can go play it
wherever they want.
It once on PlayStation, and PlayStation can't even do that with their own games yet.
Nope.
7 years behind. All right.
You cannot buy a first-party PlayStation game right now.
Exactly.
Right? And say, I'm fit to go play it on GeForce Now or Boosteroid or whatever streaming platform I want.
Can't do it. And before this deal, you couldn't do that with an Xbox. Like, for example, if I bought a game on Steam, I could go on GeForce Now and play it on Steam. But there was not the case if I bought it on Xbox, I could just go on GeForce Now and play it on maybe on the Windows Store, maybe. But I couldn't do that on PlayStation, buy a game there and go play it on GeForce Now. So Microsoft breaking down these barriers that Sony wants to keep up until Sony's ready to break them down themselves. Yep. That's where Sony's at.
Yep. It's crazy. And I think people don't even realize it, that that data was an integral part of this. And it helps them try to reach their numbers. They're trying to get to the 200 million subscriber number in terms of either Game Pass or in terms of Game Pass. I wouldn't say cloud, because cloud is just a distribution method that's a part of Game Pass. I just wish the CMA could have recognized that. But they're trying to get to those numbers. So they don't. Why do we need these barriers up? The barriers will prohibit us from trying to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. Sony wants to keep those barriers up long enough for them to get their shit together.
Yep. And see how long it's taking.
Because if you go back a year or two when they dropped that, and that's the meeting notes that Z always pull up, they tell you that PSN infrastructure is limited to 5 million. That's his peak.
In terms of like simultaneous users?
Yeah.
Not surprised.
No, only it's limited to 5 million. And it was on the meeting notes at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So even if they wanted to right now, infrastructure wise, they couldn't put their first part. They wouldn't be able to handle the traffic.
Oh yeah. You remember when was made a big deal that you couldn't change your name on PSN. And remember when Sean Layden was like, that'd be a very difficult thing to implement. Remember that whole area? The moment I heard that, I was like, their infrastructure is like horrible, because there's no reason why. For example, quick developer 101. If I'm going to have user login in my application, my user, when you put your little email, first name, last name and stuff, I'm not identifying you by email throughout my database. I'm identifying you by unique identifying number, some long 26-digit, 30-digit random alphanumeric case number. So then when you decide to change your email is tied to that unique identifier.
Hold on. Hey, look. He talking code talk right here. He is an iOS developer. He's not a game developer, but he is a iOS developer. So he knows me. So he's talking. Take this information. Go ahead, break it down, brother. He's talking developer talk right now.
In my database, I am tying my users to something I know will never be changed.
Okay.
The fact that they were like, we don't really know the impact that changing your username would have on our back end is essentially what they were saying, even though they didn't use those words. That meant in some way they were tying stats and trophies and all of that stuff somehow to your username. Because if you change your username, if I recall, you could lose like certain parts of your data. That meant they had not developed that. They had not architected that out properly. And when you have millions of users and you got to go back and fix that, you can't fix that overnight. That takes a long time, where you have to set up like clone databases to test changes to make sure that when users can finally change their username, all these, horrible effects don't happen. That's why I think it was a year after that conversation where Layden was like, you could finally do this now. Well, if it took them a year to implement that, I don't even want to know in other areas where they got problems similar to that type of, it's a huge obstacle to do when you got to redo your database just so your users can change a name. So once I seen that, I was just like, well, they got a whole host of problems over there that I don't even know about.
Imagine just having issues with just, if we change the name, then it's going to affect your account. It's going to affect your games. It's going to affect this and that. And Microsoft.
Imagine the homie Vaughn changed his name back then and he lost all his plats. Like Vaughn was Vaughn might quit PlayStation that day. All right.
Facts.
So it was just, that's like, if that little small thing's a problem, I don't want to know what else is going on over there. All right? Yeah. And I have fixed my own database issues where I didn't architect out something right. And now I got to go back and do so. It's not fun. It's not fun. And depending on your platform, when you got to implement, like DevOps has to implement them changes, they got to pick a time because PlayStation is a global brand. Right. It's not like me. I'm just in the US, so I can wait till 3 a.m. and do those changes when users are on downtime. But when I got a global brand, I have to pick the best time where we have the least amount of users to implement these maintenance updates, or I got to just shut down the whole network to do it. So that's why sometimes when you guys see maintenance update, PSN will be down or live will be, live usually doesn't do that. I'll explain why in a second. That's why when you see that type of stuff, they're implementing changes where they don't want users doing data transactions on their database to interfere with that. That's why they do that. The reason you don't see it with Microsoft, you ever notice how when Xbox Live goes down, it's not all of Xbox Live usually, it's certain portions of it?
Wait, not only that though, you never see Xbox Live go down for maintenance issues.
No, you don't.
And let me get this bit. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead,
Top Shotter with the $5. I can see Microsoft closing ABK deal next week in the US with the announcement they made today with Nvidia. Sony showcase make perfect timing. Top Shotter, boy, that is some wishful thinking, brother. Next week, my brother.
Would be nice if
it would be nice, but yeah, you're right. I have seen PlayStation go down a lot for maintenance issues between certain time periods, and I think they usually do the downtime doing low numbers when not that many people are on. But finish breaking that down, because you're saying the reason why they do that is because they don't need the user on their end making any changes to the database
part of it
while they're doing update. Okay, go ahead, finish.
Second part of it is, if you look up, Microsoft is really big on what's called microservices, where Xbox Live is pretty much split up into a bunch of microservices where they have one service that handles login. They have another service that handles downloads. They have another service that handles
purchases,
messaging. Yeah, purchases. They have another service that handles streaming. They're really big on microservices where if one of those goes down, the other
it doesn't affect the other ones. Okay,
exactly.
And you see that a lot, because with Xbox Live, you might Xbox Live is set up, but we have certain issues. Certain users are having issues with content or downloading or brand. So
the reason that's because they're really big on microservice architecture. So now that has its own headache when you got to deal with them, because sometimes you need data from one service to another, and so it's a lot of complexity to it. But the overall benefit of it is, when I need to update one part of my architecture, I don't have to take the whole thing down for maintenance. I only have to suspend this one piece. Amazon does it with their stuff. That's why when Amazon goes down, it's not all of Amazon has gone down. It's maybe there's one portion that maybe most of the users use has gone down, but there's 50 million other things that are running smoothly and just fine on Amazon Web Services, because they do micro service architecture as well. My thinking is, Bungie is, for certain, is probably helping Sony implement this thing PSN wide, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's clear, and I'm not saying they have no microservices on PSN, but I don't think it was their overall design from the get-go. From like when they first made, like, PSN still has a lot of legacy issues from when they first made PS3 that they've been cleaning up pretty much since that time. That's why PSN on PS4 was a night and day difference between PS3. It was way better. So they've been cleaning it up over time. But it's one thing to clean up bad architecture over time versus starting out with really good architecture and always going forward. And that's why, in my opinion, they're just far behind Microsoft. And that's because this is Microsoft's business. This is their business model. So I can understand the difference in expertise, but like I said, 7 years behind, maybe more.
I think they missed the boat in the PS3 era, right? When Microsoft with Xbox Live came and said, look, developers, y'all going to tap into our infrastructure. We're going to take care of everything for y'all, so y'all can just need to depend on developing a game. That's it. In terms of anything that came with back-end Xbox Live, multiplayer and stuff, we'll take care of that for you. Versus what Sony did and said, look, developers, y'all on your own. Y'all got to set up your own servers and things like that. I think the learning experience, what Microsoft gained from that in that generation, in terms of maintaining infrastructure for not only first party, but third party, and the ups and downs that came with that, you know what I'm saying, kind of further their knowledge and put them ahead to where they're at now in terms of where Xbox Live is versus where PSN. And then you got PlayStation now that's, I think they, that do what Microsoft do now. I don't think they leave it up to developers anymore in terms of PSN, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. I think, because I know back then developers had to, so he was like, nah, y'all, that's on y'all. Y'all got to build your own servers and set up your own thing. Y'all can tap into us, but y'all got to monitor and take care of y'all own shit. I think that if they would have did Microsoft approach, it would have gave them a wealth of knowledge from that generation all the way up into now in terms of knowing how to structure and maintain something like that. and now you got to go spend $4 billion on Bungie, even though I think you overpaid for them, to be educated in that aspect on the back end, multiplayer games as a service, and things like that. Because Bungie pretty much kind of laid the blueprint for Xbox Live when Halo 2 came out, and Microsoft kind of took that and just ran with it and built it. And that goes to what you said earlier, starting out with something great and improving on it, right? When Xbox Live first came out, it was great. But when Halo 2 came and laid that foundation, it allowed them to improve on something that they already had.
What year Halo 2 came out?
2003 or 4, if I'm not mistaken.
3 or 4. Okay.
Somewhere up in there, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think Halo 2 came out in 04, 03, 04.
And is that when because I wasn't on Xbox at the time. So is that when Party Chat came, or was Party Chat in the original Xbox?
Party Chat was in the original. Well, Party Chat, it was different. Because see, what happened was with the OG Xbox, a lot of what Live did was on disc, right?
Okay.
A lot of what Live did when it came to party, when it came to like to chats and stuff like that, a lot of that was built into the software that was on the disc. It wasn't into the 360 era where Microsoft took what Halo 2 did, because Halo 2 was on the OG Xbox. And so Party Chat was built into the Halo 2 software. You know what I'm saying? It was built into the software on disk. So when you booted up Halo 2, you had a Party Chat interface in the game itself.
Okay.
So it was separate from the OS. When 360 came along, Microsoft said, Bungie, y'all, we finna take everything y'all did and we finna make that OS base. So developers don't have to worry about coding or the additional code that came along with that. We'll just do everything from an operating system level, and that will help free up development time too. But yeah, so it a lot of what they was doing was on disk, was within the software itself in the service. But then when 360 came along, Microsoft took all those features and built them into the operating system.
Okay.
Thank you, Tex. It was 04. It did come out in 04.
The reason I'm asking is because I was a PC gamer at the time, from like 2001. Once I figured out how to play Quake 3 online, that was it. I just left console behind after that. And
go with your Quake.
I'm not about to talk about Quake. I'm just setting the context, bro. Okay. Right? I'm not getting on my soapbox.
Go ahead, brother. Take care.
So, because I got into that scene, that's when I came across like internet relay chat, for all you guys who know about MIRC, if you're that old. Things like Ventrilo and TeamSpeak, which were the precursors to Discord. The stuff that was happening on PC, Microsoft pretty much took all of that and put it in one platform. We had to use I had to use one thing for chatting in the chat room, another app for voice chat, where I had to have like 50 servers I was managing depending on who I wanted to talk to. And then joining somebody else's game wasn't as easy as just clicking a button and hitting the join button. Had to copy the server, paste it in the console with the connect command and all this other stuff. And Microsoft made that into a really nice, neat, easy package. Yeah. That's essentially what Microsoft has done that across the board. That's all they've done in the console space, because that's not where it existed. It existed on PC in various little segments. And Microsoft figured out, if we do this on our platform, now not just on Xbox, because I can't tell you how much I'm on Xbox Live all the time. I'm on Xbox Live like all the time, but I'm never on my console. I'm always on my PC. I'm never on my console on Xbox Live. I'm always on my PC in a party chat.
Iron Mike said, I thought Party Chat didn't come till later because games used to have all types of proximity chat features that went away with Party Chat. What I mean by Party Chat, Iron Mike, was in Halo 2, you had a lobby system, right? you had a lobby system. It wasn't built into the OS, but it was built into Halo 2 game. So when you jumped into Halo 2, you was able to create a lobby. In that lobby, you was able to put up to 16 people in one lobby. So that was a form of party chat within Halo 2 back then, right? Then you had proximity chat, right? Within that. So when you enter a game, you was able to go over to the enemy side and you was able to hear them and you was able to have a conversation with them. And then after the game was over, y'all was able to sit in that ending game lobby and still converse back and forth until y'all left. And then when you left, you was moved back to your party chat within the lobby that you was in. So it was a form of that. But the party chat that you was talking about wasn't implemented to 360 when it was implemented on a system-wide level, meaning you can be in a party chat in the lobby before you even
enter the game.
Into the game.
You're just chilling.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you, like if you was a PC gamer, I can't tell you how much time I use chilling in MIRC or Ventrilo.
Okay.
All right. Literally just chilling in Ventrilo with cats I play the game with. You know, sometimes we in the server, we're not even playing. We're just watching others play and chatting the whole time. Like them adding that and Sony eventually, it's necessary for your monthly user engagement. It's just interesting watching the history of how this all played out. But back to the original point, Sony's they're just far behind. They have a lot more to be like. They're not worried from a game standpoint, especially because Microsoft don't seem to be able to manage a studio properly outside of maybe individual studios here and there to release games that work, you know, day one. So Sony's not Sony. Like if you're a consumer, you have no really worries with Sony. They're giving you games. They're giving you games that work on when they release. You have confidence in them. Sony's concern is all this other stuff that our customers, they're not even supposed to think about. But we're concerned about it because we understand it's these things that are going to dictate how the industry goes in the future. And Microsoft is so far ahead now, they're going to be further ahead if this Activision
deal goes through. And that's what I'm trying to.
Jim Ryan's concern right now as a CEO of a brand that's completely relying upon PlayStation's success.
Right.
Whereas Microsoft ain't worried about it. They're not relying on Xbox success. Xbox could die tomorrow. Microsoft will be fine, but PlayStation don't have that luxury.
Yeah, I think Xbox is only 8% of Microsoft income right now. The rest is legacy things like Word and with Office and all of that stuff, and out in Azure and all that stuff. So, I think people don't understand Microsoft they're preparing for future markets. They're preparing for the change of the guard, and they're saying when that guard change, we want to be leading the way.
Yep.
And we want to already be there. We're already ready to go there, right? Our competition isn't.
Nope.
Nintendo ain't even ready to go there.
The closest, in my opinion, is Google and Amazon.
They are the closest.
They're the closest. And Google just gave up the fight after 3 years, which was, I don't think they understand. It took Microsoft decades to really capture their footprint in the gaming market.
Yeah.
Google gave up after 3 years.
Look,
two to 3 years. And you hear me when I tell you guys, Post Up knows this. In terms of using Stadia, because I played, I think I purchased Shadow of the Tomb Raider on it, played it and beat it. I purchased it a second time, by the way, because I played it and beat it on Xbox.
Yeah.
I played Killer Instinct on xCloud. And I played Power Rangers Battle for the Grid on both Steam and I think I got it for free on Stadia.
Okay.
When I tell you, I could feel the latency when I'm playing Killer Instinct on xCloud. It's like maybe a 250, 500 millisecond delay there. You can feel it when you're doing combos.
Yeah.
On Power Rangers Battle for the Grid on Stadia, I could not perceive the latency.
at all.
That's how good it was.
Stadia was, yeah.
Like Stadia in terms of its platform.
Fucking game changer.
And remember, the game that they wanted to test on, you can go look it up. They went to id Software and like, if we can't play Doom on Stadia, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Doom was the game they were using to test their latency on. And if they could not feel that it was one-to-one, like local, it wasn't worth doing. That's how far Stadia's cloud platform in terms of performance was beyond Microsoft with xCloud. It was that far beyond it. That's why I couldn't for the life of me understand why the heck they gave up. And furthermore, yes, they had less games, but their cloud platform was like releasing a new console. Of course, you're going to have less games. Yeah. Of course, it's going to take longer for market penetration. And the funny thing is, when they canceled Stadia, they were at the best market penetration they were having in the entire Stadia. Yeah. I couldn't understand it. Like, bruh, I'm seeing all these EA games coming day and date that didn't come day and date 2 years ago.
Yep.
And you canceled your platform. Like, you guys are so impatient. Yeah. Man, you're so impatient. And now they want to turn around and use it as Microsoft's the reason we closed down.
Has
nothing to do with it.
And that's because they want to block it to prevent them from mobile.
Has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. I was using Stadia. It had nothing to do with that. You guys just sucked at marketing and you were impatient. That's it. Because the cloud revolution, y'all was prepared for it. They were well prepared for it.
Let me tell you something. Look, Stadia would have forced every other cloud provider to get on that fucking game, including xCloud, because they were so fucking far ahead. When I first played Stadia, I think it was the Assassin's Creed demo they had.
Odyssey joint. Yep.
And it blew me the fuck away. That shit was 1-to-1. I couldn't believe it, bro.
Yeah.
I instantly said, this is a problem.
Yeah.
This is a game changer. Even when Z when Z finally played it, he was like, oh my God. He was blown away.
Yeah.
If Stadia could have just held on, right? You wasn't going to get the market penetration you wanted in 3 years. It was just not going to happen.
Nope.
You was going to, I don't know if they was willing to take some of the financial losses it takes to get there, but I wish they would have. Microsoft done lost fucking billions on Xbox since its inception. Yep. Billions. Motherfucking Amazon lost millions and billions before they went 14 years without turning a profit. Amazon went 14 years before they even turned a profit. But they stuck in it for 14 years, and look at them. They are one of, if not the biggest online merch retailers in the world.
Yep. It don't make any sense to me. I just couldn't believe. And here's the thing: in terms of developing for the cloud, right? What does GeForce Now do right now? You don't have to make games.
Nope.
But in terms of them, when you play on their service, they have the same thing. Remember when Stadia came out? We offer more teraflops than the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro because we can, use this elastic technology and combine GPUs and all this stuff. Yep. That's what GeForce Now does.
And we can constantly upgrade our server
exactly
at a faster rate than
they do that. They do that. So right now.
Do Google come back to Stadia and bring your own game model?
I think it's too late now.
You think it's too late?
I think it's too late. Like you and this is the things they were saying. We give Google. Mm-hmm. It'll be dead soon because Google's not going to wait around for it. Like people were saying that it'll be in the Google graveyard soon, and that's where it ended up. But like, I just couldn't understand because I used to research like Stadia, their development platform and stuff like that. Their stuff was so let me tell you, Post Up, if I was coding a game right now, where you are, and this is one of the things that Microsoft and PlayStation have had to work out because of COVID and whatnot, how to have full remote game developer teams. Mm-hmm. Guess who was in prime position for that? Stadia. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
I could be developing a game right now on my laptop. I could push the instance, like, okay, I'm updating my game. I push it to Google Stadia Cloud or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my playtesters, they could be wherever they want,
mm-hmm.
wherever they are in the world. All I had to do was send you a link to get you to play test it.
That's crazy.
You know what Xbox and PlayStation had to do prior to COVID? You had to locally be there for a build to be pushed from an XDK or SDK to some central server, and then that has to be pushed to whatever other playtest SDKs you're using or consoles for you to do that. Stadia was a link away. And if I'm working for Stadia, I'm pretty sure I probably got decent internet connection. I probably got a gig up, gig down. So it's not going to take me that long to upload this and then have you play tested it in 5 to 10 minutes. They were built to handle the pandemic.
Yep.
Bruh, I'm just so frustrated with them.
Yeah. I think the only thing where Microsoft really had them beat was that in terms of the software, allowing you to create one build and go from cloud into multiple, go from cloud to multiple screens. I was hearing with Stadia that they had to make multiple builds for multiple different screens, and Microsoft just one build across all screens.
I don't know if that's the case. I never read any information regarding that. I know that a lot of their ports were PlayStation 4 ports because PlayStation is Linux based. Stadia was Linux based. I'm not sure about the screen portion though.
Yeah, I'm learning Linux right now in my cybersecurity.
Start with a K. Distribution start with a K. Cali?
Yep.
Is it Cali?
Yep.
My goodness.
I was just in Cali.
We're gonna move on.
I will talk about that some more time. I was just doing some, you know what I'm saying? Then I was
moving into cybersecurity?
Yeah, I'm going into field. I was just in
Is that what the thing that you mentioned on Twitter the other day?
I was just on Immersive Labs because I was doing some
really
learning some things on there.
Learning some things. That's the best way to put it. Learning some things.
Learning some things. I'm
gonna tell a quick story. All right. Okay. This on my own network, so I was allowed to do this. I was learning cybersecurity. I was playing. My wife and I, we had a friend over or whatever, and I had this other laptop I was using, and I was like just remotely shutting off their Wi-Fi access, like periodically. And they'd be like, "Hey, my internet's not working." I'm like, "Well, my internet's working fine. So I don't know what's wrong with you guys' internet." But cybersecurity is Let me for you guys in the chat. You want to know how the internet works and why? When I say data is most important, and I know we had a whole conversation regarding Microsoft and Sony's perspective regarding that in terms of gaming. You want to understand how the internet works? Go into cybersecurity. Blow. I'm talking things like you will read exploits on how somebody got access to an Amazon server because they put some executable code in the metadata of an image that when it got uploaded to Facebook server, it ran with root access on the server. Like,
bro, I'm telling you, I'm figuring out some motherfucking amazing shit, bro.
Cybersecurity is like, if I was to do it, I would not be coding. I would be doing cybersecurity if I could start all over. Ain't no way I'd be doing coding.
Bro.
All right, cybersecurity is just.
But they go hand in hand, though. You'll be perfect for it because you already,
They do, but it's just something I got to do on the side and with family and stuff like that. But I'm trying to tell you guys now, you guys looking for a career change. Cybersecurity is
I would say this
place to go.
Let me tell you something. It is 2.7 million available jobs for cybersecurity to fill right now. 2.7
and not enough to fill them.
Million, and it ain't enough people to fill them. The same with coders.
Yep.
They're
when I
trying
started
to find
coding,
the next.
It was like 10 jobs to one programmer when I started. And that was like 2014, 15.
Yeah.
It was like 14. Sorry, it was 10 jobs to one coder. There just wasn't enough coders. It's the ratio's higher for cybersecurity.
But they still need more. They need the coders of tomorrow. They need the new generation of coders, and that's why that's why you're seeing so many boot camps and stuff like that with coders in cybersecurity, because it's so many motherfucking positions to fill in those fields. But also, that's the new battleground.
Yeah, now
it ain't wars and missiles and guns.
Games. That's
it ain't wars and hey, look, bro, I'm learning some bro. Let me tell you something, bro. If I knew it was look, man, let me tell y'all something. Bro. Hey, let me look. I ain't gonna need going to. I'll just tell you this though. The new battlefield ain't shooting guns and shooting missiles.
It's not.
It is cyber warfare. It's the ability to get into your the state infrastructure and affect votings and make presidents and destabilize countries and all type. That's the new battleground, bro. That's the new battleground.
Like to talk about it, like, so you know how you hear about nuke threats and this North Korea and this country. One of the reasons why countries are so reluctant to start to actually do that is because all the countries, they all know they're in one another's system. They just don't know to what degree they're in one another's technology infrastructure. So you decide, country A decides, I'm about to start jumping off. Well, they don't know how much country B, C, and Z are into their infrastructure. So you set something off, I could shut down your whole electrical grid by tomorrow. You have no idea. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, the best cybersecurity experts are the ones who are in your system and you don't know.
Don't even know it. Yep.
You don't.
They call them zero day attacks.
You have, like, for example, I think it was a couple years ago. It was in, what does Microsoft use this browser thing? This thing is called now Microsoft Edge.
Yeah.
They pushed out an update that had a cybersecurity fix in it that was there for 10 years.
Bro, it was one in Linux for 30.
Yes. That means for 30 years, somebody had access to this, and they didn't know it.
Because the guy who wrote Linux, since the inception of it, it was a vulnerability in there that was in there for 30 years.
Yep.
And you look, and if it's there, you look at Linux is very popular on the server side.
Yep.
On the back end, you got different iterations of it, Red Hat, stuff like that. But just imagine all of these corporations using Linux servers and stuff on the back, and that vulnerability was there for 30 years, and did nobody know about it.
Yep. Except some black hat somewhere who knows about it, sold the exploit 50 million times over, and they're just sitting on it.
I'm gonna tell you one story, then we're gonna keep going. Then because my kids got they talking about their home. It was this guy that worked for the government. Right. I ain't gonna say what part of the government he worked for, but he worked for the government, right? Had some software that they was testing at the government. He decided to take that software home and test it on his own computer, right? He was running Kaspersky antivirus software, right? Yeah. And we know what the antivirus software is going to do. Anytime it sees something new that it can't reference in its database, it uploads those files to the cloud so they can investigate. Well, Russia knew. Y'all already know what happened. Russia knew, blew out the bam. They got a hold it, but I'm just saying how vulnerable. The more I learned, the more I realized how vulnerable our information is and our data is.
Oh yeah.
And what the shit.
It's too it's too difficult to protect.
It's too difficult.
Too many door avenues.
It's too many avenues. It's too many doors.
Yep. It's almost impossible.
If
it's
one
probably
door,
impossible.
And there's multiple ways to attack.
Yep.
To attack an endpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. It's just like it's crazy. Like anything you decide to use can introduce a vulnerability. Oh, I need something to handle my chat. Well, that chat gonna need access to your server. Probably gonna need a certain type of privilege. Yep. And if that little chat add-on got vulnerabilities, well, and you can't, and you don't own the code, so you can't protect yourself from it.
Bro, I'm learning about shit, vulnerabilities and exploit that's been going on that I ain't had no clue about, bro.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm talking about some shit, bro. Like what? When this happened? When that happened? When?
Yep.
and it's scary. And I say the most vulnerable is you, right? Because no matter how secure something is, the most easy person to hack is the person.
Yep.
And that's where social engineering and all that stuff comes in.
Man.
Because you really find out that people are so gullible and susceptible to giving up their information. It is crazy. I've talked to people that lost 10, 20 thousands of dollars because they were socially hacked off a phone call, right? Off fear, right? Off fear. Once that fear kick in, you'd be willing to give up all of your information. And I've seen it firsthand where bank accounts were literally emptied out. I'm talking about, in some cases, life savings gone.
And it don't matter.
Off of one easy phone call.
Yep.
So no matter how secure you can secure somebody's data, the most vulnerable person in that transaction is the person, because if it's secure and you can get to the person, then that person can get you to that data. It's crazy, bro. But man, yo, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I'm about to take y'all to cybersecurity class. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank Play for pulling up, rocking out with me. Shout out to Mello, his daughter graduate today. I thank y'all for rocking out. We over 2 hours. I ain't even know. I make sure y'all hit the like button, man. We about to get up out of here, man. I'm gonna see y'all this weekend, man. Try to go live again Saturday with the whole crew, and we're gonna go from there, man. All right, y'all have a good one. What am I gonna play? I don't even know what song I'm gonna play. I'm just gonna end it with no music. Y'all have a good one.